Welcome, everybody.
Morning.
Live here from 1950 South Shepherd. My name is David. I'm in active recovery. And today I've got a special guest, Miss Nohelani Casperson, Miss Sunday.
Morning.
Yeah. Just want to say good morning to everybody, Pivawuna. And, we had a great night last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a chance to go sit down with some family and friends and have a sweat last night. And, man, it was just beautiful. I woke up this morning feeling alive, like just feeling grateful and humble. And, it's like probably the biggest turnout we've had out there for a sweat in a long time. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of people there and a lot of people in recovery, and I just want to give a big shout out to my brother George and Heather for taking care of us,
Mm-hmm.
cooking for us and take care of us in the sweat like they always do, and our have a couple other tribal members there. But, yeah, we're a little pressed for time today, but let's get into it. Summer Meditations with Native American Elders, July 25th. This is from Vernon Cooper, Lumbee Tribe. People need to wake up. They can't hear God's voice if they're asleep. Black Elk, a Sioux, talks about the hoop of many hoops. He says that above the people is a hoop, a conscience, the total belief of the people. If the hoop is sick, meaning dysfunctional, codependent, a lot of alcoholism, family abuse, violence, racism, and sexual abuse, the people can get used to this and think it is normal. In other words, the people are asleep. If we have left the spiritual way of life, the people are asleep. If we are given our power to another entity, the people are asleep. In most tribes, there are coyote clans. The job of the coyote clan people is to wake the people up. They need to become a nuisance and irritate people. We must return to the spiritual walk. Today, I intend to focus on, oh, Great Spirit, keep me awake today. Let me hear the voices of our ancestors. Let me hear the voices of the grandfathers, because everybody is doing it doesn't make it right. Let me hear the truth today and become a coyote for the people. Give me the courage to be willing to be different. Let me walk straight on the red road. You want to go first?
Yeah. We learn about that in Wildbriety, right? The domestication process and how there's so many different systems that are input or put into place for us to be put to sleep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's the institution of education or the prison industrial complex or all of these different places that, from the fundamental parts of us, they're putting us through these since the Industrial Revolution, right? Really, since big business came about, they're putting us to sleep, constantly putting us to sleep. And so music that we listen to, we have to be very careful, right? The education system. And I remember going back to school and my mom saying hey, remember that we're going here to get that piece of paper that we need to get a seat at the table to create good change. But we're not going there to learn their ways, and so really being conscious of that stuff, you have to stay awake. It says, you have to stay awake. And when we find brothers and sisters, and the trickster, right? The coyote trickster it's always, whenever I read that passage, it's always so we can be funny and playful and cause a nuisance and be hey, wake up. We got to do something good.
Mm-hmm.
We got to do something good. But yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, for me, I read this morning and I was like, man, I got to speak on this, because in our Cheyenne Arapaho culture, some of us are always called coyotes, and in that sense, it's like, we're ornery or we're out there tearing it or, we're just being some kind of way, and so my uncles always tease me like that, tease me and my brother, like my brother Barry and other ones, that were coyotes. So we're just out there, just out and about, running amok. And but now, to come back into who I am, my true self, and be in recovery, I'm able to recognize where I was being a coyote, and then oh, so this is the way of life that I need to live, the spiritual way of life, and and under all these old traditions and these principles we speak about, living in them instead of just hearing about them or talking about them, but actually to put them into action is what's been changing my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then now to be able to have a chance to come on here or go out to the benefit dances or other recovery events or just anything in public, and be able to recover out loud is
Mhm.
like so crucial for me because man, like I can remember like just a few years ago, like none of my friends were sober,
Yeah.
nobody. But one of my homies decided to try to change and live a different life, and then he started recovering out loud, and another one did. I started to recognize it. And I was like, man, these guys are doing something different. And then so I had to try something different, and because I've tried a multitude of ways to try to get sober, and it just didn't work, and like, but when I got to California, I remember like when I got there, just knowing like, man, I got to do something different. I got
Yeah.
to do something different. Like, and I'm really grateful for like, my sponsor. My sponsor is, and as soon as I met him, like he was exactly what I needed when I needed it. And to be able to work those steps with him, and
Yeah. Shout out Papa Vince,
yeah,
right?
Vince, yeah, he's amazing. I don't know if you remember the time we called. I was still in residential.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
do. And
it's
he
like,
was like, I have a boy named David. He's going to be coming. And I remember all the way through. But that's what we get to do, right?
Mm.
That's part of the process. It's like an each one teach one. And only speaking for myself, like when I first was getting sober, like it wasn't like I was going to say, "Hi, good morning, Malin." It wasn't like I was going to say, "Hey, I'm struggling with thinking I'm a good parent or not," or "Hey, I'm dealing with some of this like insecurities or this enemy that lives inside of my head that's telling me I'm never going to succeed because no one else I've seen try, or it's for those people, it's not for me. I didn't know how to say that stuff out loud.
Yeah.
So I really had to get around people that were recovering out loud, because even though I didn't know how to ask the questions yet, they would talk about it,
Yeah.
and going to the meetings and being in healing circles and being in talking circles and stuff like that was really what someone else was courageous enough to share about that they were going through. I was going through, I just didn't know how to say it yet.
Yeah.
And then they would, someone else would offer them solution. And I was like, man, that's good. Okay, I'm going to try that then,
Yeah.
like even before I found my voice, even before I found my words, I was able to start learning and watching because of the people that were recovering out loud,
Yeah.
because of the ones who had chosen to take that action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Action.
Yeah, and shout out to my boy Risky too. Like
Mhm.
I still talk to him all the time. And I remember like the first time I came to Magic House.
Yeah. I have a new shirt, Magic House 2 shirt.
He said something like in the term like, if we want what we have, we got to do what we do.
Right.
And that hit me to the heart. I was like looking at Brittany. I was like, oh. Yeah, we need to get connected with this community.
Busy, yeah.
Like we need to find out where they go to church, what meetings they go to, and what's happening, and then like that's what we need to do, and just once we started doing that, like things have been great. Things have been so awesome,
When it's like training camp, right? Like that's
Yeah.
one of the things I remember when I was going through the process at Chief's house, and he was like, okay, tomorrow you're up at 6:00 in the morning and we're going over here. And I'm like, it's 1:00 in the morning right now. Like, you want me up in 5 hours? That's insanity. And every part of me wanted to resist it. But I knew, trust the process, it'll make sense later. They would always say, you can't think your way into a new way of living. You have to live your way into a new way of thinking, And so in that, I was like, man, I got to walk it out. I'm exhausted. Nothing makes sense, but I'm not overthinking anything either. So we're going to just keep on walking it out,
Yeah.
And so as we did, and as it continued, I got to see the benefit of that. So that's why Magic House is what it is, right? Nonprofit resource center, and 7 days a week we do something. Something so that people have a safe place with sober people to just learn how to keep going.
Yeah, and that's what I think unofficially is kind of like our mission here too, like back in Oklahoma, and especially in the El Reno area. We're trying to get something available to people in recovery like every day.
Yeah.
So like I think Monday Mingo's usually doing yoga. Tuesday we have a meeting in Watauga. Wednesday we usually sweat or go to church. Thursday we have our Wellbriety meeting. Friday we have another Wellbriety meeting. Saturday we have a dance or something we're usually doing.
Yeah.
And then Sunday we're usually at church with Cassandra, some other people, or another sweat, and it's just like life is full now.
Yeah.
Like I really got time to to get complacent,
to overthink it, to get complacent, to get
Mhm.
ungrateful. I just grateful in the grind, right? I just keep going and going and going. And in the midst of it, the lessons come along the way. And then I know I'm not in charge of when do I learn this lesson or I need to know this about it's none of that. It's where can I be of maximum service? And then the magic is hidden and the lessons and the teachings, they're hidden in service, right?
Yeah.
It's really hidden in the service work. So the more I'm actively of service, the more that little pocket shows up and that answer, that solution I've been searching for probably 40 years is, you know, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's great too. Like that whole trust the process thing too. That was like crucial for me and Brittany. I remember using residential. Like we had just gotten baby taken away. We had to leave our family behind. Our girls, you know, our moms. We're both the babies in our family, me and Brittany each. So to leave them behind and like go somewhere 1,500 miles away was like just we were broken, you know, and like. But we kept telling each other on the phone, you know, trust the process. And we didn't know what it meant, but we knew that we had to get some help. And man, it's amazing too, because like when I think back at it now, like the amount of time we spent in California, from the time we got back, it was a shorter amount of time to our daughter came back to our life, you know, and now we got our girls back, you know, and then not just that, we got our community back, like just.
Well, and this is like one of the gifts that I got to recognize just this week, right? That the interconnectedness and the reality of how the unseen world has a more powerful and profound effect on us than the seen world ever will.
Yeah.
You sent me a message yesterday and you were like, oh, I'm taking my son to work and something. And I hit my knees. I was like, man, you know, like, what a gift that is.
Yeah.
Like, what a gift that is to be able to hear you say, I'm taking my son to work and my daughter's at daycare. Like, we've dreamt about this.
Yeah.
We've dreamt about these moments, you know, and it's not even like I'm getting something back. I'm getting something better that I never had before.
Yeah.
It's not even like, yeah, we wanted Aaliyah back and that came back faster than ever. But having Maya at all of the things, right? Because I got to meet her last time and then taking your son to it. Like, this is an experience that's never happened before.
Yeah.
And it's because of that connectedness with everyone. It's because of that interdependent, interconnected system. And so I could feel it all the way from, I don't know how far my hotel room is, but whatever, you know what I mean, right? Like, it was so powerful. It was so powerful that I could have sat in that all day, except we got to be in action, right? So I had to go do something, but it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. And, you know, like recovering out loud, to me, that's amazing. Like, I've been to a few funerals where, not a few, but one I went to particularly, and I lost a loved one and through fentanyl poisoning, and a few of his uncles were there that I knew from the streets, you know, and they asked me like, they haven't seen me in years, but they got big, you know, like, and they kind of asked me questions. This is all I got to look forward to is just getting big when I sober up. And I was like, looked at him like, nah, but like, I wanted to tell him more and more, like, bro, it's like the family, the respect, the self-love, like everything comes back to you. And like, you know, but I told him, I was like, man, you know, there's a lot more to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so definitely worth it to come on this side of the road, you know, the red road. And, you know, shout out to a couple of my homies, because man, we started off, like I said, it was Barry first. You know, I reckon it was him and Randy doing something. Shout out to Randy and Olene. They were doing something different. And then, you know, I try to follow in their footsteps. They're still leading the way. I got now we got, you know, my friend Dale with me. Shout out to Dan, my homeboy Daniel's with us. You know, my nephew David's with us. What's his name? Another friend of mine from the streets hit me up like 2 days ago, told me he's in sober living. And he's doing good. And I was like, whoa, that was like mind blowing, because he hit me up and I'm thinking like, oh, this was going to be trying to borrow some money or something, you know?
You never know, yeah. You never know about the conversation.
He's going to be trying to get me to go tear it, you know?
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm in sober living in the city, so I'm doing good. But I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. And that feels good, you know? So I can't wait to see him, and I can't wait to see all my other brothers in the street still doing it. It's worth like for that. It's not what you're meant for. And I'm just happy to be here
Yeah.
and be present.
Well, and I mean, we've talked about it for generations, right? That intergenerational trauma and really recognizing what happened. But we have an opportunity at intergenerational healing,
Yeah.
right? Recovering out loud is a form of intergenerational healing.
Mhm.
Returning to ceremony and being back in healing spaces is intergenerational healing. So at some point, at some time, there was a lot of trauma that was going on. And at this point, at this time, we're past that 7th generation. It's time. It's time for us to wake up.
Yeah.
It's time for us to start loving each other unconditionally,
Mhm.
practicing that acceptance above everything else, and really just starting to connect and grow.
Mhm.
The more we get together, the more that interconnectedness lives in us, the more that web is created, the more solid that foundation becomes for all of us.
Yeah.
We get connected to, like I said, in that unseen world. It's not like we were talking about it this morning, right? The balance. It's one side you're this codependent, one side you're counter dependent. Like, where am I even supposed to go with it? I'm supposed to be a part of a collective and community. But what you don't have to know is any of it when you have this web of so many others that you've
Yeah.
been connected with. And then you just kind of dance around on both sides and figure it out.
Yeah.
But you're safe too.
Oh yeah, definitely safe.
Yeah.
Like just last night, I was just really grateful, just to be able to do that. Like, we do that every Wednesday. It's like that out there,
Yeah.
and it's just beautiful. Like, to me now it is. I used to almost, in my addiction, I would dread going there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, I gotta go out here. I gotta go and sit in this sweat. It's hot, but now I was like, let's go. Like,
Yeah.
do we need wood? What do we need to get this going? So we can make this happen. And it's just that whole. I think it's that perspective, different perspective on working.
It is.
And that's directly from, I always give credit to the creator and then working the steps.
Yeah.
Working the steps changed my life.
Well, in everything, right? The steps are in order for a reason. Scripture says, be not conformed by the ways of the world, be transformed by the renewing of the mind. So the reality is, I have a disease that lives as centers in my mind. My big book says, right? I have a disease that centers in my mind. So if I'm looking at multiple different things that are helping people heal, and they're all saying the same thing, I know it's a truth, right? And so in that truth, understanding I have a 3-part disease that centers in my mind, that tells me I don't have a problem, everyone else does, and then I just stop listening to her because she's still crazy, and we go on about our day. And that's where the action and more action comes in, because if I'm going to be listening to what's going on in my head, my physical self will be in process, and we walk it out, and we get to a new way of thinking. But it really happens when we're of service, when, like, the meditation says, when we're being that coyote that's like, hey, wake up, pumpkin.
Yeah.
Let's go do something fun.
Yeah.
There's a good life over here. Come.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And that's answering those phone calls with the nervous tummy, thinking, okay, they're either going to ask me for money to bail them out of jail, or there's the blessing and the gift that he's in sober living in the city.
Heck yeah.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Good stuff. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate everything you're doing for us.
Man.
So
Appreciate everything Tori's doing for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Everybody, man.
Especially Mingo. Mingo.
Mingo, I've done yoga with you like 3 times,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I never actually told you until right now, which makes it weird.
It says, oh yeah. Thank you.
We were doing like planks or something one day, and I was like, oh, he's doing too much. I gotta go.
Every time we go to a Gore Dance event, I go to the dressing room or the bathroom to put on our shirts and stuff like that. Mingo's in there stretching out. But no, it's always good times. I love being around Tor. I love my whole recovery community back when we came back. Anybody that's in treatment or coming back home to Oklahoma, I want to let you know, we're here.
Yeah.
As soon as you touch down, hit us up. Let's catch a meeting. Let's continue to do that. That's what it takes. We gotta get right into the center of the pack whenever we come back, and that's what we did, and we're still doing that, and it's still working for us.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot, right? Get in the middle of the pack. And I know that it is true, but no one explained to me what that meant. And so I just want to like disclaimer real quick. So always have a sponsor, a mentor, a spiritual advisor, someone that is leading you, that knows that they're leading you, right? And then always behind a sponsee, a sister, a mentee, someone that's coming behind you so that you have to be accountable to them because you can't walk it out or you can't tell them that they're watching you, you know? And then brothers and sisters on both sides of you that are on that journey with you, that you can say, hey, did you go through this one yet? Did I go through this one yet? And have that conversation. And that's how I stay in the middle. I got to identify the one before me, the one behind me, and the two on the sides of me, at least two, right? To stay centered in that pack, because the lone wolf is the one that gets picked off.
Yeah, that's definitely like that first week I was here. I got back in December. You know, I had a serious conversation with Barry. It was like, Barry and my brother Shane, each of them separately. And I told him, I was like, hey, I need you guys to hold me accountable. You guys recognize me getting on any kind of bullshit or anything and just straighten me out. I give you permission to, to just straighten me out, you know? But and that's what they do too, you know?
Yeah.
Like my brother, I'm very grateful for my brother Barry because he's right there with me on this side. And my brother Shane is right here on this side with me, like with everything I do.
I was a little bit more sensitive. I would tell Susan, like, okay, you can call me out and you can tell me, but don't do it in front of other people. I had all these conditions, right? Like, you can call me out on my stuff, but I have all these conditions. Don't do it in front of people. Do it when we're by ourselves, and would like pull it off to the side. So it has to be in the morning after I've had my coffee, right? Like all of these conditions until because I was still so broken and so insecure and so uncomfortable that in the beginning I just couldn't be challenged like that. And so to know that we're doing something that's growing to a space where we're coming home asking for that accountability, that's good stuff.
And then when it does come to the point, like I think my brother Shane had to have some couple talks with me. You know, like to accept his advice and like without getting mad
or defensive, right? Yeah. I was telling the girls at Magic House too, right before I left, we had this mantra that's going on in our house right now. I do not have to defend or promote myself. You know, and really understanding that I do not have to defend or promote myself. Yeah. It is the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, get on these announcements. What we got here? So first of all, we got the All Nations Rare Discovery Gourd Clan Princess. We're still accepting applications. You know, I think we're looking for 15 to 17-year-old princess. So yeah, we need got this crown back here. So yeah, we need somebody in the youth to help represent, you know, our Gourd Clan. Shout out to Brand Logics. We got a tech service to talk about all of our upcoming events, meetings, you know, and then just different resources that you need to, if you're new to recovery or even still, you know, got long-term recovery. You text TOUR to 888-580-4TOUR. We're also got this season, we're going to stay safe with this snagging season with the 49 Safe Box. We got Narcan. Party bags, yeah. We got Narcan, fentanyl test kits, HIV test kits, condoms, Plan B if Dale didn't take all of them. Educational materials, cedar for before Mingo, before you lay it down, you gotta lay down that cedar. And breath mints for after.
And breath mints are for after. Thank you for explaining that for me, because I was confused which one went where.
And this right here, we also offer a talk space. And if you guys aren't familiar with Talkspace, it's an online therapy, and this is provided by the Columbus Tribes, Cheyenne Rapids Tribes Health Department Opioid Response Project. And I use this like religiously. Like I've been doing this since December, and man, it really helps. I had one therapist on here that I worked with for about 5 or 6 months, and then she recently moved. I got a new therapist on there, and man, it really helps to have somebody to talk to. Not only that, like I still have a case I'm working on that requires me to seek therapy at least once a week, and this is what I use, and it's totally free. It's convenient. You just do it like sometimes I sit at the gas station you know,
Mhm.
just on the phone with it, or you know, I'm at the house or wherever. And it's simple. You just get onto Talkspace, talkspace.com/CHA tour. You know,
Mhm.
scan the code we have. The passphrase is restore, and like I said, it's all free. And I tried to get on there like to get another session because it's so good. Like we're allowed a couple sessions a month, and I use those up pretty quick. So then I tried to like add more on my own out of my own pocket. It's like $70, you know. I'm like, oh, so yeah, I'm really grateful for that resource, you know. And what else we got? We got speaker night tonight. Yeah,
Tonight, yay.
get to hear Chad Riley tell his story, you know, and he's awesome, man. Like he's just a kind soul. I've only known the good Chad, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And that's what I think is I love about recovery too. Is like we get to know the best versions of those people, you know. So when I was in California, I think the first time I met Chad was he came to speak at South Coast on one of those
The panels.
the panels. Yeah. So then and then we got close, you know, and we started doing everything together. So some of my best memories I had in California were with Chad.
Yeah.
You know, and to see him come back, you know, a few months ago, come back now. He sat and sweat with us last night. You know, it's just feels good to be able to introduce him to my family members and my community.
Yeah. Well, and one of his nephews, I believe, that he raised before the addiction, before all of the stuff and things, is coming.
Yeah.
So his bio family is coming.
That's awesome.
And that is a gift because of Tor, right? Because she's CNA. And so she saw it on your guys' page that Chad was speaking and told her husband, and now their family's coming and we get to meet them all for the first time. Yeah.
So that's awesome. We also have another meeting tomorrow night. So we just, like I said, the schedule is we usually have a meeting on Thursday nights, another meeting on Friday nights, both at 7:00. I want to give a big shout out to Medicine Tribe too. So if you're in the Oklahoma City area looking for a Wellbriety meeting, they have meetings on Monday nights, Wednesday nights, and Thursday nights as well. So, you know, and shout out to all the other Wellbriety circles throughout Oklahoma and throughout the nation. You know, love you guys.
Healing force. Keep making the healing force. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. See you later.